When a Sigma male suddenly goes silent on you, it's not just a random mood swing or a simple case of needing space. It's a calculated retreat, a deliberate quiet that speaks volumes. You find yourself replaying every conversation, wondering if you missed a warning sign. His silence isn't an accident. It's the culmination of deeper issues that have been simmering beneath the surface, rooted in his personality and values. He doesn't follow the usual social script of constant updates, apologies, or long explanations. Even Carl Jung recognized the power of silence in a world full of noise. His world operates on a different wavelength, one where words aren't thrown around just to fill gaps. When he goes quiet, it's a final verdict, not a negotiating tactic. If he's gone silent, there's always a reason. It's time to face 11 hard truths behind that unsettling quiet. Number 1. You underestimated his ability to see through you. You might have thought you could keep a few things hidden, a few little lies or parts of yourself you weren't proud of. Maybe you tried to present the best version of you, hoping he wouldn't notice the cracks. But you're dealing with a man who can read people like an open book. He is far more perceptive than you think. A Sigma male has a razor-sharp intuition. He picks up on inconsistencies, the subtle shifts in your tone, and the truths left unspoken. He's not interested in the polished persona you show the world. He's looking straight at the real you, behind the mask. The moment he senses that you're not being genuine, whether you're exaggerating your stories, hiding your true intentions, or trying to be someone you're not, he decides he's done. Understand this: he won't confront you about the deception. There will be no dramatic argument, no calling out your behavior. Confrontation isn't his style. Instead, he'll slip away quietly. One day, you simply stop hearing from him. No messages, no calls, just radio silence. By the time you realize he saw right through the facade, he's already long gone, vanishing without fanfare. This isn't a game or a test. It's a permanent decision. To him, authenticity is non-negotiable. If you can't be real with him, he sees no reason to stick around. His silence is his way of cutting the cord. He refuses to spend his energy on someone wearing a disguise, so he leaves, silently and decisively. Number 2. You became a drain on his mental energy. It started small. Maybe you leaned on him a little too often, or your conversations turned into one-sided therapy sessions. You might not have noticed it, but each interaction began to feel exhausting for him. He's protective of his time and mind, and if you consistently bring chaos or neediness into his life, he'll notice it fast. To a Sigma male, mental energy is a precious resource, one he guards carefully. He's highly selective about where his attention goes. If you bombard him with constant complaints, endless drama, or demands for validation, it's only a matter of time before he reaches his limit. The moment he feels your presence is mentally and emotionally draining, he starts pulling back. Don't expect a warning or a heart-to-heart talk about boundaries. He won't sit you down to negotiate how much of himself he can give. That's not how he operates. Instead, he'll simply begin to disappear from your daily life. Calls go unanswered, and plans get cancelled, while your deep conversations fade into shallow pleasantries or silence. One day, you wake up to an eerie quiet. He's just not there anymore. It's not cruelty, it's self-preservation. Sigma males understand their own limits better than anyone. When he senses that your emotional needs or negativity are sapping his strength, he will quietly retreat to protect his peace of mind. To him, it's a matter of survival, not spite. And once that door is closed, it rarely opens again. His silence means your chapter in his life has ended. Number 3. The respect wasn't mutual. He treated you with courtesy and listened when you spoke, but did you give him the same in return? Respect is the cornerstone of any bond for a Sigma male, and he expects it to go both ways. If he felt even a hint of disrespect, a dismissive tone, an eye roll at his ideas, or you continually talking over him, it would start chipping away at your connection. You probably never heard him complain when you crossed the line. He isn't one to nag or beg for basic decency. Instead, he watches quietly, giving you the space to show your true colors. Sigmas rarely broadcast their expectations, but don't think for a second that he doesn't have them. He notices everything, every slight, every backhanded comment, every time you took him for granted. Once it became clear that you didn't respect him the way he respected you, he made up his mind. He gave no dramatic confrontation. He simply went silent. In his view, there's no point in explaining something you should already understand. Respect is fundamental. His silence is a final bow out of a one-sided relationship. He refuses to stick around where he's not valued. In his mind, respect should be mutual and effortless, not something he has to fight for. So if you belittled him or failed to appreciate his presence, he quietly removed himself. No drama, no second chances. Just the cold truth that he won't spend time where he isn't respected. Number 4. He gave you chances, but you never changed. One of the biggest mistakes you can make is assuming everything is fine just because he hasn't said anything. A Sigma male often deals in silence, including giving silent second chances. He noticed when you messed up or hurt him, but instead of immediately cutting you off, he stepped back and observed. He wanted to see if you'd correct the issue on your own. You might not have realized it, but he was testing the waters, hoping you'd rise to the occasion. Maybe you broke a promise or crossed a boundary. The first time, he let it slide without a word. The second time, he noted the pattern. By the third time, if nothing changed, his silence became an exit. What's remarkable is how patient he can be in those early stages. He understands people aren't perfect, and he gave you room to grow. But his patience has limits. Each unaddressed mistake was a quiet strike against you. Each repeated pattern was a decision in the making. When he finally goes silent on you, it isn't out of nowhere. In his mind, you've had all the chances you were ever going to get. There's no grand farewell, because from his perspective, the writing was on the wall. Once he decided he's done, that door closes for good. You won't get an explanation or another shot. The opportunity to change was there, and you didn't take it. Now he's moved on, and there's no way back in. Number 5. You became just background noise. You might have added value to his life once, but over time, something changed. Little by little, you faded into the crowd of everyday trivialities. If there's one thing a Sigma male won't tolerate, it's a life clogged with mediocrity and noise. Understand that he thrives in solitude and clarity. He doesn't need a constant stream of chatter or a crowd around him to feel content. In fact, he prefers calm and focus so he can work on his goals, reflect, or create. When you started blending into the background, when your presence became more of a dull hum than a meaningful connection, it signaled to him that your relationship had lost its spark. This isn't about you being a bad person or boring. It's about compatibility with his world. If interactions with you began to feel routine, shallow, or forced, he took it as a sign. Rather than complain or try to spice things up, he quietly recalibrated his life. He pruned away the excess, including a connection that had devolved into mere background noise. He can do it effortlessly. No confrontation or emotional goodbye. He'll just withdraw, removing you from his life like switching off a noisy appliance. It's not drama, it's pragmatism. For a Sigma male, keeping his inner world free of unnecessary noise is essential. So when he felt you had faded into the backdrop, he didn't hesitate to cut ties. Number 6. Your values started clashing with his vision. On the surface, everything seemed fine, but deep down a divide was growing between what you each found important. A Sigma male lives with purpose. He has a clear vision for his life, guided by principles and goals he won't compromise. If he began to see that your values ran contrary to his, that's a gap he wouldn't ignore. It might have been subtle. Maybe you chose comfort when he valued growth, or you were okay with little lies when he lived by honesty. These differences start small, a comment here, a choice there, but he notices. Each one adds distance in his mind, widening the space between you. He's not going to argue about these conflicts. He isn't interested in changing you, nor does he want to change himself. Instead, he quietly removes himself from your life, allowing a natural drift apart. So when he went silent, it was because in his eyes, the misalignment had become too great. No one has to be the bad guy here. It's simply a matter of incompatibility. He will always preserve his own path above all else. Rather than fight or try to force two mismatched pieces together, he chose the quiet path of separation. In his view, it was an inevitable parting of ways. Number 7. He realized you were living someone else's script. Conformity might keep some people comfortable, but it makes him uneasy. A Sigma male carves his own path and respects those who do the same. If he looked at your life and saw that you were just following the crowd, living by others' expectations, never questioning the norm, that realization would have hit him hard. If you stayed safely inside the box society built for you, never taking initiative to shape your own destiny, then to him, it meant you two operate on fundamentally different levels. He won't ridicule you or try to force you to change. He knows everyone awakens to their true self, or doesn't, in their own time. What he will do, however, is remove himself from the narrative of your life. Eventually, his engagement with you dwindled and then stopped altogether. No dramatic announcement, just a quiet exit stage left. Why? Because he craves depth and originality. If he doesn't see it in you, he won't stick around. His silence is his way of saying he refuses to be an extra in someone else's play. Number 8. He outgrew you. Harsh as it sounds, sometimes the simplest reason is the truest. He kept evolving, and you did not. A Sigma male is on a constant journey of self-improvement, always pushing his limits, learning and growing. If at first you were in sync, over time he noticed you lagging behind. While he sought out new challenges and ideas, you stayed where you were comfortable. There was probably no lecture or confrontation. That's not his style. He simply took note that your paths were no longer parallel. He won't drag anyone along on his journey. As much as he may have enjoyed your company, he won't sacrifice his momentum for someone unwilling to move. By the time you realized he was distancing himself, he was likely already mentally miles ahead. The silence that followed was just the physical confirmation of a decision quietly made in his heart, to leave behind anyone or anything that holds him back. It's not about arrogance or thinking he's better. It's about staying true to his direction. He has only so much time and energy, and he'll invest it where growth is mutual. If being around you started to feel like stagnation, then his departure was simply him remaining true to his path. No hard feelings, no big scene, just a quiet, resolute continuation of his journey without you. Number 9. He chose peace over pleasing you. Think back. Had things gotten volatile or emotionally turbulent between you? If every interaction felt like walking on eggshells or bracing for the next storm, he saw that as a serious threat to his well-being. Where many people stay in messy situations out of habit or guilt, a Sigma male refuses to sacrifice his inner peace. He is wired to protect his inner peace. The moment a relationship starts costing him that peace, he prepares to exit. You might expect him to put up with drama for the sake of history, but he won't. He knows that constant conflict will poison his well-being. So if you brought chaos to his door, be it through frequent fights, manipulation, or endless emotional roller coasters, He wouldn't meet you with rage. He would simply make up his mind that this isn't sustainable. What follows is a calm withdrawal. Calls become infrequent, responses short, affection distant. By the time you sense the chill in the air, he's already mentally checked out. His silence here isn't about punishing you, it's self-defense. He's not going to martyr his happiness just to keep someone else comfortable. A Sigma knows that choosing solitude over toxic togetherness is sometimes the only way to survive. When he goes silent in the face of ongoing turmoil, it's because he's finally choosing himself. Number 10. You tried to box him in, perhaps without meaning to. You put pressure on him, trying to pin him down into a role or lifestyle that just isn't him. If there's one thing a Sigma male won't tolerate, it's being controlled or constrained. He values his autonomy above all else. Any attempt to clip his wings, and you'll watch him disappear. Maybe you issued ultimatums, pried into every decision, or tried to mold his life to fit your ideal. Even subtle expectations for him to follow a traditional script would feel suffocating. Whatever the case, he sensed the walls closing in. To him, even well-intentioned guidance can feel like a cage if it encroaches on his independence. He won't explode in anger or engage in tug-of-war over control. You likely won't realize how strongly he felt about staying free, because he won't bother to argue. He'll just quietly start slipping out of those chains you tried to place on him. First emotionally, then physically, until one day he's gone, leaving you wondering what happened. Freedom isn't a luxury for him, it's a necessity. He operates on his own terms, and he has to be himself. Without someone else's blueprint, if you tried to label him, box him in, or dictate his path, that was a sure way to drive him into silence. He severed ties and took the escape hatch from a life too confined. His silence was his way of preserving the one thing he cannot live without: his freedom. Number 11. He sensed a hidden agenda. Trust is not something he gives lightly, and once it's broken, there's no repairing it. If you were playing games, saying one thing while meaning another, or pretending to be close just to use him, he likely picked up on it before you even realized. Sigma males have an uncanny radar for manipulation. You might think you were subtle, but he sees through those tactics. Even a slight change in tone when you want a favor, or a forced compliment before asking for something, none of it escapes him. The moment he detects that you're not being fully upfront, that you have a secret motive, he starts to detach internally. For him, manipulation is a profound sign of disrespect, a violation of the honest interaction he values. Once he spots that kind of duplicity, there's no coming back from it. He's not going to call you out, nor will he give you a chance to explain. In his mind, if you've stooped to manipulation, you've already forfeited his trust. So he goes silent, completely and utterly. One day you're plotting your next move, and the next day he's just gone. No confrontation, no dramatic "I caught you" moment. Nothing. The instant you tried to play him, you lost the privilege of his presence. His decision to cut the connection will be swift and final. It's not about revenge or blowing up in anger. It's about self-respect. He surrounds himself with people who are genuine, and if you've proven otherwise, he'll protect his space and move on without a word. In the end, when a Sigma male goes silent, it's never impulsive. By the time you notice the quiet, he's already processed everything and moved on. That silence carries weight, the sum of everything that went wrong. He doesn't do this lightly. Each of these reasons marks a boundary he will not compromise. For the Sigma, silence isn't just an escape, it's how he regains his strength. In that quiet, he protects his peace, his freedom, and his sense of self. He won't remain where he isn't authentic, respected, or free, and he owes no explanation to those who refused to listen. If you ever find yourself on the receiving end of a Sigma's silence, you'll be left with questions echoing in an empty room. But by the time that silence arrived, he had already said all he needed to, without another word. It's his final act of moving forward, taking his dignity and quiet resolve to a place where chaos can't follow. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for our next deep dive into the Sigma mindset, and until next time, take care.